Have with us the Chief Executive Officer of NDB Wealth Management Limited, and to know more about who this individual is, let's have a look at the character profile. Ruwan Perera is currently serving as the Chief Executive Officer of NDB Wealth Management and counts for over 20 years of experience in financial services sector, including fund management and primary dealer industries. He's an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Management Accounting and a member of the Chartered Global Management Accountancy. He holds an MBA in Finance from the University of Colombo, Sri Lanka, a Master of Arts in Financial Economics from the University of Colombo, Sri Lanka, a Bachelor of Science, Physical Science, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka, a postgraduate diploma in Business Administration and Management from the University of Colombo, Sri Lanka, and a postgraduate diploma in Corporate and Strategic Planning from the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Sri Lanka. His executive programs include Maximizing Your Leadership Potential program from the Harvard Business School and Leadership Skills for Top Management program from the Indian School of Business. He holds a variety of experience from the NDB Wealth Management Limited since 2009, where he has served as the Chief Operating Officer since 2014, AVP Operations from 2011 to 2013, and Manager of Operations from 2009 to 2010. He also was the Manager of Operations for the Ceylon Asset Management Limited from the period of 2006 to 2009. He was also an accountant, National Wealth Corporation from 2003 to 2005, and a student accountant, SJMS Associates Deloitte Sri Lanka from 2001 to 2003. His education includes Anand College, Colombo from the years of 1987 to 1995 and DSN Anayaka College, Colombo from 1982 to 1986. Mr. Ruwan, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Prashant. Thanks for inviting
Now,
me.
let's start off with a bit of an introduction about NDB Wealth Management.
Okay. So, NDB Wealth Management is the largest private sector fund management company in Sri Lanka. I mean, it's huge. We are managing close to 150 billion worth of assets of client assets, and out of which we have unit trusts, which is open for public, close to 75 billion. So we manage, we offer our services for small to high net worths as well as for corporates. So we have large institutions, multinationals. We are managing their private portfolios, as well as we manage some of the elite of high net worths. We are managing the private portfolios as well. And also we have our unit trust, which is available for public, and especially the Money Fund, which is our money market fund for the market, which gives around 25% return. And it's a very popular. The fund is around 60 billion worth of assets now. And the company has been in existence for about 30 years, but it really went out to public maybe during the last 5 to 6 years, because we've been managing mainly the institutional side, and now we are going more into the public. Okay. So, and the one good thing is, I mean, we have an international standard sort of operation. We have good systems and very good experience and knowledgeable qualified staff, and that's our main strength.
Right. And tell us a bit about your journey to becoming the CEO.
Okay. I started my career as a finance profession. I'm a CMA qualified, so I started from there, and I got my audit experience and then moved to primary dealing. Mm-hmm. I entered the financial sector through working at a primary dealership, and then I moved to the asset management side. It kind of happened accidentally, but I've been there now in the industry for almost like close to about 16 years. Right. I've been in the industry. Okay. And out of that 13 years, I've been in NDB Wealth.
And what are some of the challenges you faced as a CEO?
Well, we had to manage a balance between multiple stakeholders. I mean, as a CEO, because your top priority is your client interest. So always what I say is, okay, we have to give the best interest to the client, and we can't compromise that. That's our that's our most priority.
Right.
Then to maintain that, we have a pretty good governance structure. I would say the best governance structure in the industry. And to maintain that governance, to ensure that client is comfortable and client can trust us, it incurs a lot of cost. So during these times, it's challenging to maintain the cost. And apart from all, our staff is the biggest strength because it's a knowledge-based industry. So retaining the clients, staff at this time is pretty challenging. But we've been very successful to hold on to them, and that really has helped us to grow also. So that's pretty much from maybe from a client and the employee's point of view. But of course, you have to make sure that you take care of the shareholders also. So balancing between the shareholders, clients, and the staff.
Okay.
And managing the costs, it's challenging especially this time.
Right. Now, when it comes to the current economy, what's the status now? I feel like we're slowly moving towards the positive direction. What's your take on this?
Well, I think this is the worst crisis that we've seen in our generation since the independence. We've been ups and downs. During the war, the economy was not that great. We've seen all those ups and downs after the war as well. How it picked up, but this really gave a shock to everyone. But I think the central bank has done a really good job in terms of getting it to the right path. So the inflation is coming under control, and I think to a certain extent the global slowdown is also helping to a certain extent, because the oil prices were down from maybe 130s, now it's around $80 barrel, so 75 to 80. So that really helps us to, because if you take our import bill per se, it's like 40% was something of oil bill. So that really puts us pressure when the oil prices go up. And to support that, anyway, our consumption also on the fuel has come down. So that really has helped us. So with those factors, I think it has really helped us to a certain extent to manage the economy, and in terms of taking the right policy decisions. Right? They restrict the imports, and they manage they looked at the import bills and then to try to restrict it, whatever, and to keep the consumption at minimum levels. And then the interest rates, they increased it. So taking and also to safeguard to make sure that the need, like the society. Of course, the tax reforms are. It's putting tremendous pressure on people.
Right.
So I think the government and the central bank to a certain extent has balanced it. But of course, if you take the taxes, it's really putting pressure on the people working, especially the middle class and the low, the middle class. It's putting an enormous amount of pressure because the disposable income levels have come down. So with that, I think they are managing to a certain extent, because we are securing the IMF facility. The dollar is coming down. At this moment, it's really good. It's to a certain extent. But what we need to see is how it will really start to put stress when the stresses come. Like if the oil prices go up, the consumption picks up because. And then you allow certain amount of imports, and are you going to allow some construction to move forward, because some of the industries are really that is almost like dead. So when you start the economy to pick up, allow the growth to take place, how it's going to affect this will be the real challenge. So we haven't really seen the challenge, but of course there's some consolation in terms of the rupee getting appreciated.
Right.
Again, that there is a debate as to whether it's a forced depreciation, appreciation, or a natural one. And of course, in fact I wanted to experience this. I just went to check with some money changers. I went myself and checked the rates. I mean, the money changers rates are far below than what's offered from the banks. So it shows that there's a clear demand for rupee dollar conversions happening. So I think it started to pick up with the remittance and the tourism. And then with the IMF news, I think the people who really had the dollars, they wanted to convert it fast, expecting the dollar to appreciate, rupee to appreciate. So I think that really created that the moment, the same effect that happened in March with the rates, policy rates pushing up and the exchange rate moving up. The same effect, the reverse effect, has happened now. So I think it's not a artificial flow, but it's kind of happening towards market factors.
Right. Now, what are the investment options given the current economic conditions?
Well, if you look at with the current inflation levels, having 70s, it was 17 last year, now it's 70, now it's 50, it's slowing down. To keep up with that, if we look at the options, the stock market is not doing really well. We have only two options. One is stock market, then the other is the fixed income side. If you look at the fixed income side, you have the bank deposits, I'm talking about normal investor, and then the government securities. So these are the three factors, options that we have on the real estate, maybe gold. So those are I'm talking about the formal factors and very available for normal public. So if we look at the equities market, it's not that great because of the economics. But with the IMF news, you can see it's picking up slowly. Then you have the bank deposits. The rates are lower than what it was. It was around 20 to 30 levels sometime back. Now it has dropped to maybe 20s. So. But the government treasuries were at 35. Now it's at 35, 30 levels, but now it's below 30. So the rates are slowly coming down. So I would say with the domestic debt restructuring overhang, people may not want to invest in the treasury bonds. But I would say treasury bills is a safer bet, because it's maximum up to 1 year. So you have treasury bills. So if you look at investing in government treasuries, you have two options. One is the bills and the other one is the bonds. So bonds is where you expect the debt restructuring to happen. Again, maybe through maturity extension and a coupon cut. But so everyone is hoping that there won't be any value cut. Cut on the face value, but it's mainly looking at the coupon and the extension. But treasury bills no one is expecting any DDR. Right. So that, and also as a company, we are also only investing in treasury bills for up to 3 months, because we want to make sure that our client money is safe. So we've started investing 3 months, maybe up to 6 months. And we give this. We are able to give around 25 to 26% return. Some clients even get to up to 30% return, the maximum. So we are trying to see how we can maximize return in our case. So I think those are the options. We have money market fund, as I said at the beginning of the program, which gives 25%. I think it's a no-brainer. It's like a savings account. Right. So if you take a savings account now, you won't get that kind of return, and this gives 25%, which is even above the normal bank FD. So those are the options, because some of the public are not aware of. So these are the other options. But of course, if you take the gold, it's very highly pegged with the dollar. So I'm sure that the gold prices also will come down, which is because a lot of investors go and invest privately on gold. Right. So I'm sure the gold prices would have come down, and maybe the market prices also have dropped globally. So the real estate side, it's kind of I think kind of stagnant at the moment because the high interest rates. People can't get loans. You can borrow money. So there is a kind of slowdown in there. But the prices would have also appreciated to a certain extent.
Okay. Now, how is NDB Wealth being affected by these conditions?
Actually, this has lot of we are getting a lot of queries because when there's chaos, people are not clear what to do. They need advice.
Right.
So they reach to us. So we've seen a lot of customers coming towards us, seeking advice where we can invest, and they ask these questions: where do you invest, and is it safe? So we've been giving the right advice. So that I would say this year we've done really well, and our growth has been really good. Because as I said at the beginning, our unit trust business have grown to close to 75 billion assets under management, which is the largest in the industry, and we are hoping to grow it further, and also we want to make it more accessible to everyone. So we are working towards that as well.
Right. And what are some of the challenges that we can face in the near future?
Well, economically, as a country, we need to attract investors, and to do that, we need to build the confidence. So the governance structure is very important as a country as well.
Right.
So I think the right policy decisions, right legal framework, everything put in place, which is coming. Like we can see certain new laws are being put in, especially like the Central Bank Act, things like that are coming up. And even for the industry, the fund management industry, they came up with the new Collective Investment Schemes Act and SEC Act. So these are really good initiatives to put the right governance structures and take it to the next level. And so building the confidence outside is important. Of course, we have defaulted debt, so which means it's very difficult to build the confidence for the foreigners to come and invest. So I think IMF and the other multilateral agencies funding will help to give that confidence to a certain level. But I think we should build we need to give as a country that we have the right policy framework and not to misuse those funds. And we will have the correct operating structure within the country to make sure that we will not fall into the same level in the future. So I mean, you take India, it's growing. They are trying to be the third largest economy in the world, and there are some. They're expecting some of especially the maritime, the shipping. Movement of ships to shift from China to maybe to India within the next 5 to 10 years. So I think we are just right next to it, and we should be able to unlock it. So if we take the right policy decision, towards maybe, I mean, we are surrounded by the sea. We can put at least few harbors. I mean, we've done the initiative of getting the Colombo Port new terminals. We have Hambantota, we have maybe even Trinco. So if we can really build, we have the infrastructure ready for these for India's growth. I think we should be. I mean, if Hong Kong is the gateway to China, why can't Sri Lanka be the gateway to India? So we have to think like that and make the right policy decisions. It is going to be challenging because we've seen most of our younger. The younger generation moving out, migrating, and it's going to be quite challenging for the companies to grow. But I think we'll have to think new. We have to maybe allow a certain amount of immigration for our businesses to grow. Because so you'll have to allow a certain amount of people. Maybe, I mean, if you take places like Singapore and Malaysia, there are expats working. So they open the economy to allow some foreigners to come and work. So we might need to do that because I'm sure if we are going to get the economic growth, we will be short of labor within the next 5 years. And the same thing has happened in places like UK also, because UK, they are saying that the construction sector needs about 1.2 million people. So they are looking at how they can attract that foreigners or foreign people. So we need to think open-minded, I think, but while we make sure that we give the full employment to our population, we need to allow to a certain extent of immigration to facilitate the business growth. Otherwise, we won't be able to be competitive. Our costs are high, so that's another challenge that we'll have to see how we are going to bring down our costs and make it more competitive as for all the businesses. So that will be real challenging, because with the economic growth, with the current currency levels and the interest rate level, how we are going to bring it down and then make it more business friendly within the next couple of years is going to be really interesting.
Okay. And despite all of this, everything that's going on, are there any opportunities for Sri Lanka?
Yes, as I said earlier, the opportunities will be, India's growth, we need to somehow piggyback on that. And we I think we might need to do some trade agreements with some foreign countries to allow certain amount of movement of trade. And I'm sure, we've been discussing as a country how we are going to have the manufacture, how we can do exports, manufacturing growth. We might need to see with the trade war between China and US, how fast we can really get some of those business, maybe some components of the business, if we can have it established in Sri Lanka. I think we can really be, because we are we haven't really used our location to the maximum. If you take, what I understand is, if you try to ship something to US, we have a 17 days advantage as opposed to going through China, from China. So we haven't really maximized our location, our advantages, because we've been battling all these politics within the country. So rather than that, we take the right policy decision. We need to have a clear vision where we need to be and have the policy framework towards driving that. I think we can attract, we should be able to get some business, and we need to get the attention of the world. So that need to be, and to maybe clean out some of the myths that, or some of the black marks that are on our country, and then so we have to make it more clearer and more clean country to make sure that we get the foreign attention.
Okay. Now, what would be your advice to the people to really help this situation? Like you mentioned before, there are certain things that we can do on our own as well. What would be your advice?
Well, you need to first understand the basics. You need to understand what are the risks that you will face. So even now, you need to have a little bit of knowledge about the financial literacy is very important. I think that's one of the things that we are lacking in the country. And in fact, we've started a campaign to give that financial literacy to the next generation, because we want to educate them, because we don't want to see what happened to us for the next generation. So the financial literacy is very important. I think many have identified that as a weakness. So understanding where we can do that, what sort of borrowing we can do, because especially sometimes we for a business, we try to borrow short term for a long term project and at higher rates. So and we also need to understand what is really important, where we spend. And the market. We really also need to find, because we as a country, I don't know, we have good ideas, but those haven't come out really well. So we need to have a mechanism maybe to bring those ideas and build them and allow them to grow.
Right.
So if you want to get into a business, you really need to understand what are the risk factors that's going to go for that industry, and how you are going to differentiate yourself, your business, from others, and what factors you should do, and then especially one of the biggest challenge would be the labor shortage in Sri Lanka. I mean, even if you try to cultivate, and the costs. So how are you going to manage it? The cost factors, whether you can really give a very competitive product in terms of price, and as well as the service and the quality.
Right. Now, coming back to your position as the CEO of NDB Wealth, what are your future plans for the organization?
Well, we have been the number one in Sri Lanka for the last 10 or so years. I mean, we are the largest private sector fund management company. That tag has been there for the last 10 years. What I feel is we should not be limited ourselves in Sri Lanka. And I don't think we have unlocked the fullest potential in Sri Lanka as well. So we need to expand it. We need to grow our business. And as I said, our biggest strength has been our technology and the staff, and our sales teams. So we have we have one of the best CFA qualified guys. In terms of, if you take the investment team, we have CFA qualified guys. If you take the operations team, most of the guys have MBAs and degrees and maybe multiple qualifications. So we have a very excellent set of staff. What I'm trying to see is whether we can attract some foreign operations to us, and maybe step out of the country and see what is outside for which we can bring. So in terms of investments as well as business. We were focused mainly maybe Western province initially, but we want to go island wide, and not only that, we want to move out of the country to attract some business from overseas. So we will bring some new products to the market. In fact, at this time we are trying to expand our business staff as well when companies trying to scale down, because we feel now it's the right time for us to make sure that we have we are ready to unlock the potential. So the challenges are the cost. So we are investing in technology heavily. Anyway, we want to be driven by the technology. So we will continue to invest on technology, and because that will help us to give the best service to the client. And also we will want to have partner with some foreign partners to make sure that we can give some overseas service or services outside Sri Lanka.
Okay.
To maybe Sri Lankans in outside as well as who are living in Sri Lanka.
Right. Now, before we wrap up this discussion, what would be your advice to the young entrepreneurs or the young businessmen aspiring to get somewhere in life? What would be your advice to them?
First, I would say you need to know your basics. You need to at least get yourself knowledgeable about some finances, at least, because that's very important. And you really need to have you need to be passionate also to make sure that you will not calm down during challenges, because when you start a business, it's not easy. It will not fly overnight. So you have to do a lot of effort. So you have to be committed. You have to be passionate, and that passion should drive you to make sure that you come through most of the challenges. And you need to get some skilled people for you to support that. So because you might have a vision, but to make that vision successful, you need to be surrounded by a really good set of people who can add value to you. So that might be from maybe advice, maybe some team members in your business, and also because if you grow the business up to a certain point, and then you need to expand, you need funding. So how are you going to get it funded? Whether you need to get it from equity, you're going to need to borrow it, what kind of, so you need to have that bit of knowledge on finance or you need to get someone who can advise you how you can get about it. So apart from, because you might be strong in your core, but you need to be supported from other areas. So then after that, I think you can really be successful, because you have to have the right marketing strategy, you have to have the right operating team. Likewise, how we're going to do it. So you have to plan yourself properly to make sure that you have the right team.
Well, thank you so much for that valuable knowledge and advice. That was Ruwan Perera, the Chief Executive Officer of NDB Wealth Management Limited. Thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you very much, Prashant.